I want to share with you a simple and powerful framework that you can apply immediately in order to improve and deepen the love you have for the people you love in your life. Shalom, my name is Rabbi Noach, and welcome to my Torah Thoughts channel, where I, as a rabbi and psychotherapist, delve into the areas of Judaism, mental health, and personal growth. So let's learn together Jewish wisdom on the love languages. From the Torah perspective, there are two great loves. Now, there is the third one, but I'm not going to get into that, which is the love of the stranger. But there's ve'ahavta l'recha kamocha, to love your neighbor as yourself. And then you have ve'ahavta es Hashem Elokecha, to love Hashem your God. So we have this, as Rabbi Foreman discusses, we have horizontal relationships and vertical relationships covered in these two big principles of love. And we're not going to even get into all the details on what it means to love God or to love others in all the pratim or the parts of Jewish law. I want to extract sort of like the framework that comes out of what the implications are of these two psukim. Love is not something that just happens. Love is not something that is nice to do to increase the flavor of a relationship. Love is a mitzvah. Just like we're commanded, lo tirtzach, don't kill, we're commanded love. Love is a real mitzvah. And a mitzvah requires a chiyuv, an obligation. An obligation requires achrayut, responsibility. Love is a mitzvah, which is an obligation, which is a responsibility in this world. That's kind of why in the Rambam here, and we're going to just talk about some of the laws here very briefly. When we're going to talk about love, I do want this to apply to all relationships. This is not a class or a video just on love between people that are romantically interested in each other. But when we learn some of the Jewish laws about marriage and love, and we extract those principles, not on a technical halachic level, there are definitely things or obligations that we have to our partner that we will not have to friends. And I'm not getting into the sort of details of the obligations, but the meta principles on how to love from a relationship to a partner can be applied everywhere. So the Rambam says, a man must honor his wife, kavod for his wife, more than himself. And similarly, a woman must honor her husband exceedingly. Now, there is a little bit of an inequality here in the sense that the man is supposed to actually go above and beyond and honor her more than himself. And kavod means a lot of different things, from honor to giving weight or importance, respect, dignity, glory, all these different versions of I need to do something. I have an obligation to treat you well and to take care of you and to meet your needs in this world. So each person in a chiyuv relationship of love has to focus on the other person and meeting their needs. And I think this is underlying really well a lot about what the 5 love languages really are. The 5 love languages on a very brief level, I think it's Gary Chapman, the originator of this idea in the culture and in the mainstream psychology, that there are ways that we feel loved as human beings. So basically, if person A, and this is very simplification, and we're really simplifying, and people are way more complicated than this, but it is important. If person A feels loved by acts of service, person B has to do their best to be sensitive to that and do the acts of service as their mechabed of love, their honoring of love. Person B, when they feel loved by quality time, person A, who feels loved by acts of service, needs to focus on the quality time, which is what the other person needs. You don't give love in your own image. You don't give love the way that you would want love. You give love by the way that other people would want love. Here's some meta principles that can make you really tune in deeper to the needs of others and become a more loving person. This is all from Rav Eliezer Melamed, who is a Jewish law expert in Yeshivat Har HaBracha in Ramat HaSharon in Israel. So number 1, as we kind of alluded to already, love is an obligation. Ela ha'ava v'achrayut lazulat. We have love and responsibility towards others. They come together. These ideas are coming from couples work, as I mentioned, and we're going to try to apply it to all relationships. Another really important thing is that the greater the closeness we have to someone, the greater responsibility to love for that person. So he talks about mitpashtot b'maglim, that love sort of manifests from the inner circle outward. It works like in concentric circles. And the closer you get to that core, the more obligations that you have. So for example, if you see someone on the street and they're a friend and you want to be friendly to them, like there is an obligation to love that person. So in that moment, you might be friendly, you might smile, you might say hi, you might offer a kind word, maybe you'll take their phone number down and say, oh, let's get together, and maybe you will or maybe you won't. The bottom line is that there's not a lot of responsibility. So the duty to show up to love that person is pretty limited. The deeper you get, the more enmeshed your life is with somebody, the closer you get in those concentric circles as you get closer to friends and close friends and family, immediate family. There's more and more that your life is invested in them and connected to them, and there's more obligations to love them. And that's what he says with regards to marriage, that Adam yachol lekayem b'shleimut et mitzvot v'ahavta l'recha kamocha. The closer the concentric circle, the greater that obligation and the greater fulfillment of the depths of loving somebody come from that relationship. And that's why, it's, as Rabbi Akiva says, it's the klal gadol b'Torah. This is a great principle of Torah love. And the closer the person, the more the shleimut, the more you can complete that mitzvah, because there's more and more to give. So the next thing that we're going to get to is focus on all the needs of the other. The more information you have about what that person needs, the better equipped you are to know how they feel loved, the things that they like that you do and the things that they don't like that you do. You want to stop those things, work on those things, improve the things that they don't like and prevent it from happening. And you want to do the things more that they like. Kol techumei hachaim, all aspects of life. Ruchniut, gashmiut, physicality and spirituality. Every dimension, you want to learn more and more information. You want to look out for that person, for their good, as best as you can, with everything that you have, with all of your yecholto, with all of your capacities. And lastly, we need to really want it badly. Rotzeh betovoto kefi shehu rotzeh betovas atzmo. You want to love a person so much and want the good for them, just like you want for yourself. And I know that there's people that have a complicated relationship with self-love, etc. But we want the good for others just like we want for ourselves. And that's why we go back to the pasuk, that we should really invest in loving others. And just wrapping it up, we know that ahava comes from the root hav, to give. That's really what this is all about. There are many dimensions to love, many ways to deepen our connection and our emotional, our felt sense of love. There's so much going on, so much more about the dynamic and the draw of love. But in relationships, on the concentric circle, the more you're invested with somebody, the stronger your obligations become, the more indispensable you are. There's an essay on Chabad.org called How a Stupid Little Ruler Saved My Life. I heard it by Jay Levin of blessed memory, and I think it's definitely worth it just to read that essay about indispensability. There are people in our lives that, for example, I'm the only father to my children. Like, that relationship, the more that you are indispensable to a relationship, the more obligations you have, the more you're enmeshed with them, the more you can do to have, to love, to give. So taking all we said and putting it together, there's a concept, of course, we have in marriage, that there's a ketubah, a marriage contract, a marriage covenant. One tool that we can take from the ketubah is to write this stuff down. Sit with the person that you love, that you're trying to improve that relationship, a cousin, a friend, a partner, a family member, a business partner, whatever it is, write it down. Talk about how you can improve the do's and minimize the don'ts, and have that in writing so that you can work on focusing on those needs and they can focus on yours. And that's one way that relationships can really improve. Hope this was helpful. Please share, like, subscribe.